Welcome to TMI, a podcast by Henry Ford Allegiance Health. Here we are in the studio, and I have Jen with me again.
Hi, Dave.
This is fun doing the podcast with you. We've done a lot together.
We have. We're getting pretty good at it,
yeah,
I think.
I guess the other people just aren't as into getting healthy.
Right, exactly. That must be it.
Maybe not. But you just are really interested
I
in
am.
the topics.
Yep, I like to learn.
Cool. And today we have a really great topic to talk about. It is general health and performance and well-being and everything kind of wrapped up into one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool because we have Chris Johnson in the studio with us to talk a little bit about it. He's kind of really into talking with people and organizations, getting them on track. Actually, on target.
On target,
With
correct.
On Target Living, and you do a lot of stuff, so welcome to the studio.
My pleasure.
And you are going to be in Jackson again soon for the Heart Expo that we have here at the hospital
Yep,
in February.
February 23rd.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris, tell us a little bit about you, about your journey, about what you do, all that stuff.
Well, it's kind of exciting to talk to you guys because I'm kind of a local guy. I'm based out of Lansing, grew up there my entire life. And really growing up, like many baby boomers, I'm 61 years old now, and I didn't really have, I love to play sports, but I really was not a healthy guy per se. I would like to be healthy, but we just ate beefaroni and SpaghettiOs and drank Kool-Aid and Pepsi and really just really know anything about that. But I had bad skin for about 15 years of my life, and the doctors kept telling my parents I just had sensitive skin. I took oral meds and topical creams, and nothing seemed to work. Mm-hmm. And in about my second year in college at Western Michigan, I had a professor, and he was talking about processed foods and profitability. I was an economics major. And one night he was talking about milk. And so I was a poor college student, like many poor college students, and I'm trying to get bigger muscles and working out and stuff. And I'm drinking a couple gallons of milk a week. And I quit drinking milk in 1978. And about 6 months down the road, my skin slowly started getting better. And then that was kind of my genesis into getting into the health field. So after I graduated from Western Michigan, I worked for a couple of years. And one of the first jobs out of college, I worked for Butternut Bread. And then I went to work for Frito-Lay, delivering Doritos.
Oh, boy.
Nice.
And then after about a year into that, I thought, what am I doing? So I went back to grad school at Michigan State. And then from there, that's kind of the beginning of my journey.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Very cool. And you do this thing called On Target Living. What is it? What do you do? Like, what are all the things
Yeah, so
involved
continuing my career. So once I got out of grad school, I went to work for a hospital in Grand Rapids, Butterworth Metropolitan, and I was in the wellness, and I started speaking. And then I came to work back into Mason for a family practice physician. And I did that for 2 years, and I worked with a lot of high-risk folks, including like COPD and diabetes, and the list goes on. And I started learning that, I can't believe these people are so heavily medicated and so unhealthy, and I've never seen this before. And then I went to work at the Michigan Athletic Club, and I was the fitness director there, and that's kind of really where it all began. And I started speaking to the membership, and then organizations started seeing me, and they were like, can you do this for my organization? And that led to one thing. And so I had this way of eating. I would teach the trainers, and the trainers would teach their clients. We had a very large membership, 10,000 members. We had 30 trainers, and a big part of it, we weren't taught nutrition. So I started learning, like, okay, it's not about just calories, it's about food quality. Mm-hmm. And I started playing around with this thing called the Target, and I really, how do you make it simple for people to eat high quality foods? And so that's the beginning of the food target. Was the green areas, the healthy foods in the center, and then the red areas, the unhealthy foods in the outside. And that kind of led to the branding of our company called On Target Living, based on our food target. Yeah. And so that was in 2006, and then eventually we've just grown, and now we have 9 of us, including my son and my daughter. I have 32-year-old twins, and they're both speakers. My daughter's a registered dietitian. And now we just opened our headquarters actually this week in East Lansing, Michigan. So we travel around the country speaking to organizations trying to help increase their health and performance. And that's really the bottom line.
Great.
And you have some amazing YouTube videos, just so many of them. I I looked it up and I was like, wow, this is awesome. So
well,
many
I
great
thought you'd get a
resources.
kick out of that, but we just hired a creative director that is going to help us. We always say help us look better than we are because we feel like we're better than we look, but our goal is to grow that. So a big part of that is some of our marketing and videos and things to help us grow.
Yeah, and when I was talking with my friends about doing the podcast, I found out one person I know has worked with you in the past, Ethan, up in Lansing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Ethan's
it's-
done many of our videos.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep.
So it's a small world. And
It is.
It's cool to know that we have somebody that's an expert just right in our backyard. As I've been reading your book on Target Living here, it's kind of refreshing to see someone who's an expert in health and writes books and has websites and blogs and podcasts and all that stuff that has like a smart way of approaching healthy living. You're not crazy or anything, and it's just simple, common sense stuff put in a very understandable way, which I think is great. In this whole Target thing, like that's what I think is kind of the coolest thing is like it's stuff we kind of know or kind of think, but then the way that you explain it in this book, it just clicks.
Well, the first thing when we started doing personal training way back in the day, it wasn't just about information because there's a lot of information out there, but how do you get people to make behavior change? And that's the most challenging piece. And so I realized over time, if you can help people build a habit one step at a time, it's not overwhelming. And then from there, they're like, okay, I can do that. And that was the message I always wanted people to come out and say, yeah, I can do that. In fact, not only can I do it, I want to do it. Yeah. And I think that's the problem we find sometimes in our space is that it's too demanding, it's too strict, it's a lifestyle that you can't sustain. And so 97% of all diets don't work is because it's
not sustainable.
sustainable. And so it's a $70 billion industry with a 97% failure rate. There's a problem here. So I started looking at more and more of really what works and really where do you get people to start? And if you can get them to start with baby steps and build a habit, that will lead into another. And then we're really into extrinsic motivation is powerful, but intrinsic motivation is the magic. And so you're doing stuff because you want to, not because you have to.
Exactly.
And that's what most diets are going to be on the outside, not on the inside. So yeah, that's really why a big part of our business is we want to make it very sustainable and inspiring. And I think more and more people, the longer I've been in this business, people want to feel better. Yeah. And as they feel better, they perform better. And if you can meet them there, then that's the magic and that's the transformation we've seen with many, many people, I've been doing this for almost 35 years.
Mm-hmm. And even beyond I know you started out with the food target, but you've moved past that. And I think you really clarified it with the performance pillars that you came up with. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those. And we don't want to give away too much stuff because we want people to come out to our expo, but let's get into some of the performance pillars if you're into talking about that. We have, they're kind of cool. There's rest, eat, and move. And they're all like different aspects of how you can create things.
Yeah, so our latest book is called Tidal Capacity, and we always ask organization, what's the greatest resource of any organization? And they all say the same thing. It's our people. Mm-hmm. And then if you throw the next question at them, what's the greatest resource or the greatest asset of your people? Sometimes you don't hear the same. Yeah. And that's their health. Mm-hmm. And so we started thinking about what do really organizations want? They want to have their people to have greater focus. They like to have greater energy because everybody's always thinking about the most powerful commodity we can have is energy. And then how do you create drive or motivation? And the performance pillars underneath that is how we rest, how we eat, and how we move. And if you can get people to understand that, teach them how to get a better night's sleep or how to quiet your mind, or do you have enough white space where you have enough space, and the performance goes way up and they start feeling better and the medications start disappearing. And then from there we go into how we eat and then how do we move. And so almost everybody, any organization we work with, if we can help them understand and how to tackle that, then we can get into the real details, gout or acid reflux or digestive health or I can't sleep or whatever it may be. That kind of all falls into these pillars.
Very cool. So when it comes to rest, what is your concept on like white space? What is white space?
So white space, if you looked at 1940, this is really interesting. We have a slide on this, and I'll be sharing this with the group in February. But in 1940, we had about 8 hours of sleeping, 8 hours of work, 3 hours survival time. We had 5 hours of white space, and that was personal time. At time you had space.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2008, our white space shrunk to 3 hours. And then today, our white space is shrunk to 1 hour, and that's a problem. So more and more people we talk to, they just don't have any more room in their bucket. Yeah. They're maxed out. They get out of work, they go home. There's no space in their world, and so anxiety and stress and all the stuff that's hitting us every day is because we don't have enough space. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what as people have more space in their lives. And again, everybody gets busy. You know, I was working full time. My wife was working full time. I'm going to graduate full time. I got twins at home. I get it. Everybody's in different stages of their life. But if you just look back in time, we're not going to slow down. We're speeding up. Yeah. So you got to back up and say, okay, how do I expand my capacity?
And prioritize.
Prioritize. And just give yourself a little bit of time. I mean, more and more organizations we work with, they go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. There's no space in their day. Yeah. So
let alone travel time.
Yeah, and so we teach them how to create more white space in their world because we only have a certain amount of time. And so if you can get people to take micro breaks during the day, every organization we work with, you're going to perform better if you take a couple micro breaks. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but then if you bring people back and give them that space, they actually perform much better.
Right.
So now the goal is to perform better, not just put in time, but perform better. And so, again, that's where the white space comes in.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk about things where you can use times that you don't even think about. Like when you're traveling, you can just, instead of talking with everybody, you just kind of be quiet and focus on yourself. So
I'll have a day, and I've learned this from Dr. Phil Nirenberger. He's on one of our podcasts with my son, and he's kind of the stress expert in the world. And I've worked with him for over 12 years. And one of the things he says to me one day, he says, you know what, when you're traveling, because I travel all over the world, he said, when you have a day of travel, don't talk for an entire day. Now, you'll say yes or no or whatever, but you're not actually, it's amazing when I just quiet my mind and I'm listening. Sure. And what you see, because the magic is around us every day. Sometimes we just get so busy we don't even know. You know, you look outside and you're like, I didn't even know I had a tree in my front yard. You know, it's just, you know, you get into that kind of stuff. So those are little itty bitty things. Or during the day, are you paying attention to how you breathe? You know, just as simple as doing diaphragmatic breathing, it changes your nervous system. So as fast as, you know, if the sympathetic nervous system is on all the time, that's, you know, that's us speeding up. But we need to have that balance between the parasympathetic nervous system, and how you stimulate that is just as simple as how to change how you breathe.
Right.
So those are easy things that people don't really understand. But once they understand them, then they can plug them into their day, and they're like, I actually feel pretty good.
Right.
You know, I feel like my mind is a little more quiet and relaxed. And then we go back to the focus. I have greater focus. I mean, the greatest tool we can learn is how to focus our attention.
Yep.
But we're not taught that.
Right.
So if you can get people to do some of these things and teach them how to have greater focus, then away they go. And again, we all get busy, but stress is killing our country right now.
Sure.
Right.
So the second pillar that you talk about is just about eating. And I see that you have a lot of information about the importance of superfoods. So can you tell us a little bit about how that would affect, I mean, so we already know about rest and, you know, taking the time out for ourselves there. How do we fuel our body with the right things?
Well, we have a eating pyramid, and one of the first pyramids on there is obviously water and hydration. And as simple as it sounds, more and more people are just not drinking enough water.
Sure.
So we get into that, but then from there, it's not really, a lot of times it's not what people are eating, it's what they're not eating.
Okay.
So I would guesstimate about 95% of the American population is deficient in omega-3 fats.
Gotcha.
So if we don't really understand where they come from, and it's simple and it's not expensive. I mean, chia seeds, flax seeds, you can get these any place, and they're pennies a day.
I think people just tend to be a little bit nervous about them. Like I've looked at like the chia seeds and how, I've got some friends on Facebook that, they put that in their shake or their oatmeal or all of that. And it just looks intimidating to me, like, oh, I don't think I'm going to like that. But
so
I mean, I know. And it's like, I feel like I've kind of missed out because I'm not giving it a chance.
So again, back to thinking about food, what if you thought about it a little bit differently? And then I always tell, when I'm speaking or listeners or whatever, is imagine you're a third grader. You're very curious.
Right.
So most third graders are not afraid of flax seeds or chia seeds. They don't even know what they are.
Right.
So, but as we get adults, it's like, oh, that's going to taste bad.
Yep.
So that could be a fantastic afternoon snack where you take a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds or just chia seeds and just add a little pomegranate juice, 1 or 2 ounces. So now I've got omega-3 fats. I have high fiber. And the beautiful thing about like chia seeds are high in magnesium, which is the mineral of relaxation. So it helps with headaches. It helps with blood pressure. So these are magical things you could bring in. One of the big things that we promote is cod liver oil. Cod liver oil is one of the highest sources of omega-3 fats. We get ours from Dutch Harbor, Alaska. It's super high in D3, and it's so simple. It's just organic lemon flavor. So the kids are taking it, the family's taking it, and now it's easy to do.
And how do you put that? How do you do the cod liver oil? Do you just take a tablespoon of it?
Yeah,
or
right
what
off the spoon. So
Really?
the event that we're going to be doing
At the Heart Expo?
Expo, I'll be bringing some of these superfoods because the audience is really afraid of them.
Yeah.
They're afraid that, just like you mentioned,
Yep.
the taste. And I'll bring in the benefits. I mean, the benefits of a cod liver oil is going to be brain health, heart health, inflammation, and hormones.
Wow.
And who doesn't want that?
Right.
So instead of taking a pill, you just take it right off the spoon, and then everybody tries it like, gosh, this is so easy.
Yeah.
And it actually doesn't really taste like anything. And then you get them. You got them.
Sure.
Because now they've experienced it, plus they understand the benefits of it.
Right.
And that's what we've learned over the years. So almost every one of the events I travel around the world with is we're going to do some form of omega-3, such as flax, chia, or cod liver oil. And then we're also doing some form of chlorophyll.
Okay.
And chlorophyll is anything green.
Okay. That was like the algae.
Yep. So that's the spirulina chlorella or the wheatgrass. But most of the time we do spirulina chlorella because it's very inexpensive and it's easy.
Okay.
And it boosts your immune system, natural detoxifier, and it's pennies a day. It's like 25 cents a day.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I've been taking it for the last 2 years because I take a vegetarian multivitamin supplement that has that in there. And I was like, wait a second, because I saw it on the schedule and I was like, oh, that's going to be weird to taste. And I was like, oh, I already tasted it. It's not weird at all.
No, and again, it's one of the oldest foods on the planet.
Right.
And it's just a freshwater algae that's high in nucleic acid, which is a builder detoxifier.
Right, a fundamental of the food
It's
chain.
fundamental of the food chain. So if you can get fundamental of the food chain omega-3s, and then you get some form of high level of chlorophyll, then we just start paying attention to the high quality. So what the third pillar or the third foundation is, what can we upgrade? So take exactly what you're eating for breakfast. Don't take anything away. Just make it a little bit better. And so that's where we come in and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. How do I make it a little bit better? And that's the upgrades. You're not getting rid of stuff. You're just making it better. And so that's how we build. And then the last thing I'll just mention about nutrition is we really try to promote how do you keep the gut healthy. And you do that by allowing the body to have about 12 hours of not eating.
Okay.
So it's an
Okay, we
overnight
talked about
fast.
this. Yep.
Yeah.
You're talking about intermittent fasting. You're talking about cleansing. Let's make it even simpler. Just do an overnight fast. I've eaten at 7 p.m. I don't eat again until 7 a.m. It's easy.
Sure.
And you don't have to do it every day, but your goal is to say, okay, at least 12 hours, 13 hours, whatever. If I can do that on a relatively consistent basis, amazing.
I was going to say, what benefits are people going to experience
Well,
from
the
that?
first thing they're going to have is they're going to have a really good digestion going on. So now allows the body to cleanse itself. Think of the gut as a bathtub. It needs time to clean itself. So if you can, and then you bring in, real foods. I mean, I tell people, if you can eat an apple 3 times a week, it's amazing how it keeps your digestive healthy. And they're like, an apple? I'm like, yeah, an apple. You have acid reflux. You will not have acid reflux if you put a lemon in your water or you eat an apple. So these are the easy things people walk away going, okay, I can do that.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one that the pillar that I'm going to start working on, and is always difficult for me, is the move one. And just like how to find time and like, what are the aspects of that moving thing? What elements do you include?
So the big thing that I like to talk about movement is the benefits of movement. Now, we can spend the rest of the podcast talking about movement benefits, but the real number one benefit for movement is it creates powerful, positive emotion. It's what it does for our brain, not just our body.
Sure.
So it increases energy, but it lights up the neurotransmitters that make us happy. And so emotion creates positive emotion. So the number one thing when you think about depression is how do you get people to start moving their body? Because that's the magic here. The big thing I find that's really restrictive many times for people with movement is they think they need to do a lot.
Right.
Think of movement as compound interest. You just need to do a little bit every day.
Sure.
So to me, I'm a big fan of 5 to 10 minutes of moving your body every day.
Yeah.
And that could be what, like walking?
Could be
Or taking
walking.
the
I'm a big
stairs?
fan of mini trampoline. Take the
nice.
stairs. I think Costco has the best mini trampoline out there. It's so simple. It works your lymphatic system, and you don't need to be on that. We have it right in our living room. So I'll just get on that. I'm watching some TV. Just get on that thing, go up and down.
Okay.
It has a handle on it. So again, people are worried about falling. You don't have to worry about that. But the key for movement is really finding activities you like, and then just start moving.
Yeah, in our department here, Andrew is one of our coworkers who is occasionally on the podcast. We've implemented this thing where we go on a daily health walk, and we just walk around downtown. We make a little loop or explore the city a little bit for 10, 15 minutes, and that really, during the middle of the day, it clears your mind. It gets the blood flowing. It really starts your day over.
And that again, now you're that's where you begin. Now you're bringing people along with you. You're creating some social. As human beings, we're social. We want to move the body. I mean, every little kid that you walk, everybody wants to move.
Yeah.
So as an adults, we just got to get back to that, and don't do it because you like, I don't feel like it today. I always say to myself, because we all have that self-talk, if I want to feel like more energy, I know I have to power through that first 2 or 3 minutes because I don't feel like I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Yeah. But I know like when I'm traveling, I get to a hotel room, it's so easy for me to just lay on the bed and just take a little nap. I can do that, but I know if I really want to perform better, I'm just going to go and move my body, and then I'm so happy that I've done that. So again, back to the movement, make it simple, find activities you like, don't need to spend a lot of time, and then just basically, start planning and moving towards that. But I find more and more people do activities they don't really like. They just power through it, and that's not really, you don't have to love what you're doing, but you want to move your body. And the human body will really perform when you start moving. And one last thing I'll mention about movement, we teach everybody how to stretch at their desk.
Oh, nice.
And so if you can get people to just do 2 or 3 easy stretches, we have these on our website. They're quick videos, 30 seconds of stretching right at your desk or wherever you are. And I'm traveling in the airports. People see me at Detroit, and they're like, what's this guy doing? I'm like, I'm stretching because I'm going to be on a plane for 4 hours.
Right.
So anyway, those are things that we recommend from a movement standpoint.
Yeah, and I like how if you're on the website, you can also check out your ideal components for an ideal fitness program. And as you build that up, that's a great way to think about it. The elements that you should include, and there's a little bit of cardio, there's a little bit of warm up, warm down, all stretching, all the stuff.
Yeah, we have a dynamic warm up, video that's 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then if you want to add more alignment exercise, that's foundational, that's 5 minutes. And then we show strength movements and cardio and lots of different things. So again, lots of resources out there. But the key is you want to plug it into your world.
Yeah.
And I find more and more people just are not moving because they have bad information, or they think it's going to be too hard, or something limiting them.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it just always seems like I get on a really good kick where I'll work out for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 times a week, and then like we go out to dinner with friends, and it's like the next day, oh, I don't want to work out, and then now I haven't worked out in like a month and a half, and I need something to help keep that motivation going. And it's like, I know what you're saying. All of these things are just so important to just move. And you just it's just pretty simple to just do it.
Yeah, like we have the 21-day challenge right now. And I was telling my wife the other day, I'm like, okay, honey, beginning of the year, you've had 2 days, you haven't moved your body.
Yep.
And in the 21-day challenge, you only have to move your body for 5 minutes.
Really?
That's the
Okay.
challenge.
Huh.
And
Is it like a weight loss challenge,
No,
or
it's just a
just to move?
21-day challenge of resting, eating, and moving. So it
Okay.
has those 3 components. So you have to do some form of resting
Yep.
and some form of, you try to eat in the 2 green circles of the target.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have to, when I say have to, the goal is to move your body for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And that's what I saw it where I'm like, 5 minutes. I'm not telling you to go outside in the cold for a half hour, 5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah,
But that's exactly what happens when people get off track. They lose their momentum.
Yep.
And if you can bring that into a habit that you're not saying, hey, today I don't have the time. I got this and this and this going on, but I do have 5 minutes and I might go for that walk, and I might do some stretches at my desk, or I might come home and do that mini trampoline for 2 to 3 minutes. That all adds up. So that's
nice.
compound interest.
That's great.
And then if you can get crazy and go to the gym and do what you've been doing,
Right.
that's a bonus too.
Awesome.
But I find as we age, again, part of what you guys do for a living is you're looking at people's future and how they're going to feel as they age, and that's where the movement comes in.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, man, this is such a clarifying talk.
I know. I wish it was February so we could hear the whole thing.
Yeah. So, Chris, you're going to be joining us in February for the Heart Expo, and it's going to be great to have everybody be able to come in and talk, hear you talk, and say hi.
Yeah,
and-
I'm very excited. Yeah, when you guys reached out, I thought this is going to be fantastic.
yeah, it's really
It is.
cool.
It's such a great event that we put on too, and there's just so many like free health screens and just all sorts of information. We have our dietitians that are there with, heart healthy recipes. We serve a lunch that's heart healthy, so everything around it is just to help better our community, and it's just a really exciting event to be a part of.
Yeah,
And we're
salute
so
you guys
happy
for
to
putting
have
that
you.
together. That's
And-
a fantastic
And we give
event.
away a lot of
Lots
fun
of free stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be bringing free stuff too.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
And
including
then I
the Cod Liver
definitely
Oil.
I have to try it. I will be first in line.
Maybe that will scare the listeners out there, but hopefully not. No, it's easy.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. If you want to listen to more of these podcasts, we are on iTunes. You can find us also at henryford.com/podcast and listen to older episodes there. You can subscribe. We've got some more shows coming up in February here. Another heart-related
Another heart
show.
one, yep.
It's going to be good. So get ready for that. And Chris, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.